Hello, everyone. So in this lecture, I'm going to be talking about display statement, which is the select statement, and the add statement, which is also the insert, known as the insert statement, and then change something in the table, then that would be the update statement. And if you have the delete statement, that's still the delete statement. So I'm going to give you one example from each one of them and show you how that's going to work. So once you log into PHP right, there's a lot of databases you could work with. You can actually create your own database and work with that as well. But let's actually work with Seahawks database. So if you want to know if you want to search for a database, what this does is actually it only searches for the number that you have open. So right now we have list 1 open, so it only searches there. So Seahawks is not actually there. So if you keep searching, go to the next one, it's not there. If you search on the third one, it's not there as well. But if you go to the fourth one, it should be here. So this is the Seahawks database right here. So Seahawks database, it does not searches all 4 lists at the same time. It only searches that one list, right? So we're going to be writing some queries in this database. Let's actually start with the roster. That's where all the players are. Ignore the warning. And it's not the most updated one, obviously. I think I created this last year, the year before that. So it's not the most updated one. There's a lot of players that are actually not in the team right now, if you're a Seahawks fan, but it's okay. We just need the data to work with. To write a query, what you need to do is go to SQL, make sure you have the table selected first, database select, then the table selected, and then here you can actually, if you want to select everything in that table, what you would do, you actually don't need this right here. So you do select star from roster. Select star from roster, you actually don't need to put this in quotation either. And it actually knows what are you talking about. So it knows you're talking about the table roster, right? So it's click go, and all the data from the table is displayed right here in terms of a column. So you have column first, this is a column, this is a column, then this is the row. Row is the data itself, and the column names are defined when you actually create the data, when you actually create the table. So first name, last name, player name, height, weight, and so on. All those are column names inside the table. Let's say you only want to display the data, everybody who is over 200 pounds. So we can actually do that. So we can go here, and I'm going to use what it's pre-typed in for me. So I'm going to use that. Where I forgot the name of that column. Oh, here is a list of the name of the columns. We can actually use that. So where weight is greater than, what did I say, 200 pounds? I was going to say type 30. That would be almost everybody. So 200 pounds, and display everything. So whenever you write a select statement, or I'm sorry, any statement in SQL, make sure you close it with semicolon. Once you get used to typing this, so if you have multiple lines of code, that's how it knows it's a different line. So if you have just one line, it doesn't matter, it'll still run it. But if you have multiple lines, make sure it ends with a semicolon. All right, so run it. So all the players, if you look at the weight column right here, all of it, they have over 200 pounds. Right. So this is one of the restriction you can actually use, the where clause, where something is something, right? So where weight is greater than 200. So this is exactly what we typed in. If you wanted to edit it and rerun it, you can actually do that, edit inline. And if you want to go back to the previous screen, and you can click on the edit button right there. All right. So, and if you want to change it, so like I said, this is actually not required. You don't actually have to type in quotation for every time you put in the column name or table name. It would work without it. So let's say if you don't want the way, I want everybody who is over 25. You can actually do that too. You can type in the name of the column and everybody who is over 25. And click go, and would display everybody who is over 25 right there. Yeah, the error message that I get, it's not related to the code I typed in, it's related to the Chelan server. I'm not really sure what's going on, but you can just ignore that. Okay. So that is the select statement. And if you, let's say you don't want all the columns, you only want first name or last name. So you can actually do that too. So I'm going to click on edit inline. Star means you select all the columns, but if you only want to select some of the columns, you can do first name, what type it in? First name, comma, last name. So it's going both of the columns are separated by a comma. I'm going to run it. And even though it's restricted on age, but I'm only seeing first and last name. Right. Or the only ones you actually want to see. You can do that. All right. So let's actually go back and go to browse. Come on. All right, so let's say you wanted to update someone's weight. So let's do Russell Wilson, right? So he's not in the team anymore. Let's say he actually gained some weight. I want to update this. You're going to use the update query. So let's go ahead and write that. So I'm going to edit that, and let's do update query, and starts with the update, and you got to define which table you're working with. So you got to be update roster, and we're going to set weight equals where's Russell Wilson? So it was 215. Let's say he gained weight and it's 250 now. I'm going to change the weight to 250, but if for the update you actually have to have a where clause. If you don't have a where clause, what this is going to do is going to update the weight for all of the rows, but you don't want that. So you have to set the where clause, and where clause is we got to define who do you want the weight to be updated. So we're going to say first name equals to Russell, something like this, and click go. And now I actually do have an error. So here, right here, this is where you need quotation. So when I'm trying to pass in a string is something that's equals to a word in the database, data. So that actually goes in the, make sure I typed it right. Yeah, that actually goes in as a string. So I'm going to run it again, and that should have updated it. So we can go back and look at it. Russell Wilson weight is now 250. Before it was 250. Right. Come on. All right. And let's do delete. So let's delete Russell Wilson, right? So Russell Wilson is actually, do I want to delete it? Yeah, let's delete Russell Wilson. So delete is pretty easy. So you use a delete keyword from, obviously you got to define which table you're working with, even though you have it selected up here, but you still have to define it in the query. So delete from roster, and then you got to define where clause. So you can have it uppercase or lowercase, it would still be okay. I don't think SQL is that picky on the keywords. So delete from roster, the name of the table, where you're going to define which row do you want to delete. So now I can say player number, where player number, the name of the column equals 3, delete that. Or I can say first name equals Russell, delete that. And let's do with the first name, and then I'll show you. First name equals, so we did similar, something like this, Russell. So, and you got to type it exactly like it's in the database. So it's R is capital, you got to type R capital. Otherwise, sometimes it does not work. Most of the time, it does not work. And let's say you have multiple Russells, right? So if you have 2 Russells in the first name right here, both of them will be deleted. So if you want to be specific, what you can do, you can use and. And so you can provide 2 where clause. So you have first name equals Russell, and last name equals Wilson. So now it's going to go when both of those 2 are true. Last name is Wilson and first name is Russell. That's the only time it's going to delete that row. So I'm going to click go and go back to browse, and let's look at try to find Russell Wilson, it's not there, it's been deleted. All right. All right. One more thing. So we did change statement, update statement, we did delete statement, we did select, and let's do one more. So let's add Russell Wilson back in. Let's do insert statement. So if you want to add something to the database, a row to the database, you use insert statement and insert into, define the name of the table, which is roster, and you're gonna provide all the column names. So you gotta do first name, comma, last name, comma, player, as a number, yeah, player number, comma, height. There are multiple ways you can do it. Sometimes you actually don't have to define it, but I want you to get used to defining every single thing, and then you can move on to the easier version. Experience, and then college. So now all the columns that actually exist that we want to update, we defined it here in parentheses. And then next thing we need to do is we need to define the data that actually goes in there into the tables, and that goes in as values. So values, what do you want the first name to be? You want the first name to be Russell, and that actually goes in quotation. And then the last name, I want the last name to be Wilson. That actually goes in as quotation as well, in quotation, single quotes. Double quotes will work too, but I'll try to stay with single quotes. And then we get a player number. It was number 3. Let's do that. And then the height. Let's do 5. Height is in, I think, inches, so we can do 5.8. Let's do 70. And then we have weight. I think it was 215 before we changed it to 250. And then we have age. Not really sure how old, so I'll do 25. And then experience. Let's do 1 year. And then college. I have no idea. Let's do UCF. So you can see anytime there was a number, I did not put it in quotation. I think if this would work. For the number, the integer number, I don't have to put in quotation, but if it's a string data type, which is just a word, I need to put that in quotation. So let's try it. Yeah, so that works. So whenever we have a number that goes in, you can look at the database structure and you can see which one is integer. These are integer data type, and these are varchar. Varchars are strings data type. First 2 and the last one, and these ones you do actually have to add it as in quotation. So now let's go look at browse and see if Russell Wilson was added. And was it added? Where is this? Oh yeah, it was added back to the same place. Weird. All right, so it was added. I think it's doing a sort on the name or something like that. That's why it was added at the same place. All right. So that's it for the coding part. Let me actually talk about a little bit about the mission statement, and let me actually pull up the slide. So give me just a moment. Share my other screen. All right, so let's see if this is actually ever going to load or not. I don't think that's ever going to load. Let me actually pull it up a different way. Let me share my other screen. All right. So you can read through it. It's pretty simple, and you can read the book, and it's self-explanatory. So I'm not going to sit here and read the slides for you. If you have any questions, obviously contact me and I'll be happy to explain it to you. So mission statement is one of the things you need to do for your homework assignment as well. So it's the purpose of the database. Why do you need the database? Why are you creating a database? It should be well defined, and it should have a purpose, right? And the mission objectives are what kind of task, what can user do with the after you create the database. So there are a lot of examples here listed here. So the purpose of the new starts talent agency database is to maintain the data we generate and to supply information that supports the engagement services we provide to our entertainers, right? So that's the mission statement of the database. And when you create a database, you got to keep this mission statement in mind. Then now the mission objectives. When you create a database, all these things the user should be able to do. Maintain complete entertainer information. That means all their data will be saved in the database. So you gotta have name, IDs, emails, and all that information, right? Or whatever information they want to save. Track all engagements. So whenever they're coming in, or whenever they have entertainers, whenever they have a gig, you gotta keep track of that. So sometimes they're just vague. So to track all engagements. So this is pretty vague, right? So you gotta ask whoever is in charge, what tables do you want? Or sometimes they don't even know. They just tell you this, and you gotta come up with what tables you need, right? As a SQL expert. Report on monthly and annual sales. So that means you got to keep track of their sales by monthly and annually. So if you keep track of monthly, then you can actually get the annual sales as well. So you got to have a table for that as well. So this is what they mean by mission objectives and mission statement. If you want to practice, you can actually practice with the Highland College, Community College, and cafeteria database. So what kind of things would they be keeping track of? One thing I know they will be keeping track of is the inventory. How many sandwiches they have, how many chips, packets, and all that stuff. And you got to write the mission statement and mission objectives off of that. If you have questions and concerns, let me know. I'm available during my office hours, or just email me. I'll be happy to help you.